congratulations to our guy, Jay Stu. You know, he's not to the I don't love the we status, but of all fans, of all people who are celebrating today, Jay Stu would be the most likely and the most acceptable to say we, because he literally has watched every Dodger game of the year. And although he's been a curmudgeon, and he said multiple times, this team just does not have the pitching. It's just not going to happen. And they're soft, and Mookie Betts is a choker. You know, all those things are well documented. His team did, in fact, win the World Series. And it's not just that you won the World Series. It's the way in which you won the World Series. Here's the final call on Fox TV last night.
The Dodgers a strike away from a championship, from a proper celebration. Start the party, Los Angeles! Your Dodgers have won the World Series!
That's Joe Davis on the call. This is the Doug Gottlieb Show on Fox Sports Radio. There are similarities, right? And you had it was Julio Urias who closed it in 2020, right? And again, at the time, he was a starter, I believe, who came in and closed the door. We've seen this happen time again, but the Game 7 starter, and I saw Jay Stu was texting, and then I tweeted out, what if they put Shohei Ohtani in for the bottom of the ninth inning? To go in and beat the Yankees in Yankee Stadium 2 out of 3 times, super impressive. To come from behind late in the game against the Yankees, super impressive. To come from 5-0 down, especially when Aaron Judge finally hit a home run and they seem to wake up the bear, really, really, really impressive. I told those last 3 outs are always hard against anybody, especially the Yankees. The last 27 against the Yankees in Yankee Stadium are difficult. And I know they had an expensive team. But the reality is that a good amount of that expense is on the IR as pitchers, and Shohei Ohtani can't pitch. And oh yeah, by the way, he can barely hit, at least for Shohei Ohtani, since hurting his shoulder at the end of game 2. Game 2. But they found a way. Or maybe, and right, here's the coaching expression, more games are lost than won. The Yankees lost that game. I mean, I think in the late innings, coming from 6-5 down, putting together at-bats, loading the bases, getting a sac fly, and then getting some hits and score, like all that stuff is great. But none of it happens if the Yankees don't start throwing, looking like when my son stopped playing baseball. One of the big reasons he didn't stop playing baseball was he wasn't on particularly good club teams, and bad club teams when you're in like 5th grade, they look like that. They boot the and the expression we always had is, man, getting 9 outs is really hard in 1 inning. Right? And you felt for Garrett Cole, but then he, of course, he has his own mental brain flatulence. Where you're sitting there and you're watching at home and there's a grounder and they get it at first. You're like, where's the pitcher? And the look on his face when he was ultimately removed from the game was of the realization that he let everybody down. Yes, picking the ball up in the 6th inning and shutting them down was great. But you can't get it back from where it was. And I'm going to give you an expression that I used. I honestly don't know if I heard it somewhere or I just made it up. It's one of those things where when you say it, or you're like, that's the most simple-minded, very easy, repeatable, dumb quote, but you might actually like it. You ready for it? The fundamentals are the fundamentals. Whoa. What's that mean, though? Right? In baseball, fielding the ball, catching the ball, throwing the ball, understanding based upon outs, based upon situation, where the ball goes, who's supposed to cover, where's the cutoff man, etc., etc., etc. Those fundamentals have not changed. Have not changed. Sometimes where the ball goes, do you hold a guy on? When do we have a play on? Right? Some of that has changed because the emphasis of baseball, For a long time, we didn't have guys run because everything was hit a home run, and we didn't value small ball. Now they increased the size of the baseball bag, of first base, or second base. So it does technically make it easier to steal. It's reinstituted, but unless you can throw it, catch it, field it, it doesn't matter. In basketball, the sport has changed in terms of the use of the three-point shot, the use of different quadrants of the court, the styles of offense. People don't run motion. People don't do things inside the three-point line. But passing, dribbling, catching, shooting, defending, rebounding, that hasn't changed. Angles and themes, those change. The fundamentals are the fundamentals. In football, blocking, tackling, holding on to the ball. He who turns the football over less generally wins. Right? Those things haven't changed. The fundamentals are the fundamentals. And the New York Yankees were not fundamentally sound. And that's why they lost the game. Now, can you blame it on not putting enough work in it? Maybe. I don't know. Can you blame it on the pressure of the moment when you're up 5-0 and you feel like, and then all of a sudden you make an error and now all of a sudden 2 or 3? That's fair. By the way, that's called choking. When the pressure and magnitude of a moment cause you to perform at a level far below the normal standard for you or for your team personally, that's choking. Yankees choked. But to me, it's the fundamentals are the fundamentals, and that's challenged the most at the times in which the pressure is the highest. And I can tell you, we're playing a game. My first college basketball game as a coach is on Monday. Play my alma mater, Oklahoma State. They're bigger, they're more athletic, they're stronger, they're older. And based upon the way they play, the number one thing that will win us or lose us the game is the fundamentals. Can we pass? Can we catch? Can we make shots? Can we defend? Can we stop the ball? Can we rebound the ball? The placing of the players and the scouting report, that's important. But unless you get to the fundamentals, it doesn't matter. And that, I think, is ultimately what undid the Yankees. Even the fact that, I get you have Shohei and then you have Mookie before you get to Freddie. But game one, how you use a guy who hadn't pitched in a month and then his first pitch is a fastball right down the middle. Why are you not throwing a breaking ball which goes away from him? Why? That's the whole strength of lefty-lefty matchups. The fundamentals are the fundamentals. It's Doug Gottlieb Show here on Fox Sports Radio. Jay Stu, how you feeling today?
Oh, I'm feeling wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for all the compliments in the first couple seconds of the show. And I could not be happier. I could not be happier for myself, who has been with this team since the 1970s. But I couldn't be happiest for my son, Jacob, who is able to celebrate and acknowledge a first regular season World Series title. So I'm over the roof. And a couple things on what you just said. The fundamentals are definitely the issue here. And one thing that we know about any sport is that in the postseason, when things get tight, your flaws, your warts tend to surface. We knew the Yankees were not fundamentally sound all season. This was kind of one of their weaknesses, base running as well. And it came to bite them in the butt last night. The inverse of that, or the converse, whatever the word is, the Dodgers' warts over the past 7 or 8 years, they just didn't have any clutch to them. That was regular season thing and a postseason thing. And this team, whatever chemistry shakeup Andrew Friedman made to this team, adding the best player in baseball never hurts, they became clutch, they became tough as nails, and it was such a fun team to watch. So you go beyond all my curmudgeon, and it was just a fun experience, and I'm real happy about it.
I think you want to know what changed? Freddie Freeman.
Sure.
Freddie Freeman. He wins the game in game one. Huge home runs in games 2 and 3, especially early in the game when there's pressure on you and, other guys have that hangover. I think Freddie Freeman. Freddie Freeman.
That was the underreported, underrated at bat of the night. The Yankees are getting a lot of grief for the way they threw the ball around in the fifth, but Freddie Freeman came up with 2 outs and the bases loaded, and you have to get that hit, and he did. He got the hit when the Dodgers needed him most.
Yeah, I mean, listen, at some point when a guy does it again and again and again and again, you just go, hey, he's a dude. That was remarkable. And, of course, he had done it before when he was with Atlanta in the World Series, not afraid of the big moment. And then, I believe this. There is something different. The Warriors did it a couple years ago when they won an NBA title in Boston Garden, just like the Dodgers. It's one thing to win a World Series. It's another thing to beat the Yankees. It's a whole other thing to beat the Yankees in Yankee Stadium and come from behind in Yankee Stadium. When you got idiots like those Hanyaks in right field who thought they're playing defense by trying to take the ball out of Mookie Betts' glove, in Game 4. You didn't just vanquish the Yankees. You didn't just beat them in Yankee Stadium. You came from 5-0 down. Then you were down again late in the game and came back and won. And when you're out of relievers, you use your Game 7 starter who closed the door. Pretty awesome stuff. And I think the ratings will reflect that was a great and memorable and watchable series.